go In the Huddle on the Woodward Radio Network. In the Huddle is driven by Mills Fleet Farm. From Tanner's Sports Grill in Kimberly, here is Justin Hall and Packers defensive back Davon House.
And once again, good evening to you from Tanner's Sports Grill in Kimberly. In the Huddle once again on the Woodward Radio Network. In the Huddle brought to you by Mills Fleet Farm. We are here with our Packer co-host this week, cornerback Davon House, off a 22-9 victory off division rival Detroit. It'll be a nice bounce back after a couple of weeks with the Cincinnati game, having the bye week, and getting back out there and getting the job done.
Yeah, it feels good, especially since it's a division game. The Lions were looking really good. Had a great win against Chicago. We're coming off a bye, and we're 1-2, so it was a big game for us. Just like JJ said in the locker room before we went out, 1-3 is not an option. So we went out there and got the job done.
What was it like sitting in the bye with that Cincinnati game being the last game that was in your mind? Was it easy to keep that out and just kind of get away from football a little bit?
Yeah. I think it was that Monday afternoon we were able to leave for our vacation, but as soon as everyone left, pretty sure everyone just erased it from the memory.
So you show up to the stadium yesterday, and had to be a shock. Calvin Johnson inactive. What goes through your mind when you see that? When arguably one of the best, if not the best, receiver in the game right now isn't going to be out there, and I'm sure an individual you guys were preparing for all week.
At the same time, it's good. Because it's like a day without Aaron Rodgers, so I'm pretty sure the opposing team is going to be happy that Aaron's not playing, because now our backup has to play, who, of course, not as good as Aaron. So we were like, I guess we were happy, but at the same time we're kind of disappointed because it's a challenge that we can go out there and slow Calvin down and limit him to what he does best, and that's 120-yard game. So we'll see him later on this season. We'll see what happens.
I think I overheard you talking about Sam Shields was pretty bummed out because he was looking forward to going up against Megatron.
Yeah, especially Sam. Yeah, Sam wanted it to him. But like I said, we'll see him on later on this season and see what happens. Yeah,
Thanksgiving, that'll be the return trip to Detroit. Reggie Bush, the other member of that team that a lot of people were talking about, 13 carries, 44 yards. 20 of those came on an end around, 4 receptions for 25 yards. I have it written down on the paper right now. Wow. I thought that was a phenomenal job yesterday that you guys did on Reggie Bush.
Yeah, I give hats off to the front seven once again. Shutting Reggie down. Reggie had 130-some yards, I believe, last week against Chicago, and that's a good Chicago defense. Every year, they're top 10 defense in the league, and for our front seven to hold them really to 20 yards until you got the end around was big for us.
And not just that, but you talk about the front seven. Coming into this game, Matthew Stafford was sacked just 3 times. You guys got to him 5, almost doubled that total in one afternoon at Lambeau yesterday.
Yeah, front seven making our job a lot easier. Our thing was play solid in the back end and have our front seven get to Stafford and throw him off rhythm, and it worked. So front seven, keep doing your job.
Well, you mentioned the front seven, and the victory did come at a cost yesterday. Our Compass Land Consultant injury report, we'll get to that right now. The news today, linebacker Clay Matthews, according to Adam Schefter of ESPN, fractured thumb. He's going to miss a month. That's we've talked about next man up and a few times, but when it's a guy like Clay, and we talk about Calvin Johnson, Aaron Rodgers, and that, it's got to be a different dynamic, proceeding forward through one of those injuries.
Yeah, it is. But last year, Clay missed some games, and I believe the span he missed, we were 5-1. So the good thing about our team and the difference between our team and other teams, we have great backups like Sam Barrington and Jamari Lattimore, who's going to be stepping in this week. With me, I wasn't a starter last year, and technically I guess you could say I'm not a starter now since Casey's out or whatnot. So, I mean, we got backups that can go out there and perform as starters.
Well, it is our Compass Land Consultant injury report. We'll get to the rest of that. Compass Land Consultant is a full-service real estate consulting business. They specialize in the sale of vacant land. That includes hunting property. And let the experts at Compass Land lead you to victory in the search for that perfect piece of land to call your own. Got parcels, all shapes and sizes, on the water, off the water, lots of woods, whatever you need, whether it's 1st and 10 or 4th and inches in your searching process. The experts at Compass Land can help you find pay dirt. Give them a call today, 800-548-6933, or check them out at clclands.com. And just kind of, as you mentioned, too, with Jamari and with Sam, who we'll bring up here in the next segment, but Brad Jones, hamstring injury, he was lost in the game, and then Robert Francois, who came in to replace Brad, ended up tearing his Achilles. He's on the IR, and I'm sure when the guys go on IR, it's a little tougher to see those guys, go for the year.
Yeah, especially older guys, especially a player like him. It's not like it's his year 1 or 2 where most likely he's going to be here for the next 2 years. So, I mean, you pray not to get hurt, but you go out there and give it your all, and if something like that happens, the way I look at it is God has a plan for you, and he's going to take care of you.
A lot of great news, too, on the injury front leading into the game. Eddie Lacy, Jermichael Finley, Jarrett Bush among those back. Also, Morgan Burnett sporting a new haircut back in the safety spot. And I know he was all smiles after yesterday's game.
Yeah, it's funny seeing him back there with no hair. He's different.
What happened?
I have no clue.
Time for a change?
The week, I think it was the Friday before we left, he was like, I'm going to cut my hair doing it by. And no one took him serious. And then I remember walking in, I'm like, who's this guy sitting in Morgan's locker? And then I look, I'm like, wow, it's Morgan. He's over there brushing his hair. All he does all day is brush his hair now. I'm like, you're not going to get no waves. That's funny, though.
A couple other notes from the game, too. Eddie Lacy, 99 yards, one shy of 100 yards, and would have made it 3 straight games with a 100-yard rusher. 3 different guys, too. I know everybody was raving about Eddie's day and would have liked to see him get that 1 extra yard.
Yeah, the O-line and the tight ends have doing a really good job opening up holes and creating opportunities for our backs. So, I mean, that's another example of, you don't have to be a starter to be a good back or a good player, because Starks didn't start, had 100 yards. Franklin played half of the game, had 100 yards.
More with Davon House. We'll meet our guest Sam Barrington, too, in our next segment when we return in the Huddle here on the Woodward Radio Network. And we are back here at Tanner's Sports Grill in Kimberly in the Huddle, returning on the Woodward Radio Network. In the Huddle, brought to you by Mills Fleet Farm, along with Packer co-host Davon House, Justin Hull with you. We have our Brew Pub Pizza interactive segment coming up, where you get to ask the players questions, as we do each and every week. You can go to Twitter at In the Huddle Show, or you can search out In the Huddle Show on Facebook, and you can ask your questions there. Well, Davon, you brought your guest tonight. I'll let you do the introduction. You want to introduce your guest?
Oh, I'm sorry. We got Ricky Sam Barrington.
7th round pick out of South Florida. Sam, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Well, Jacksonville, Florida to South Florida, which is in Tampa, to Green Bay. Quite the different journey there.
Yeah, I think a quote I can remember from training camp, one of the fans came up to me and they said, yeah, it isn't a lot of snow in Florida. And my only comeback is, yeah, it isn't a lot of sun in Green Bay. So
it's a nice week this week. I don't know what's going on, but
yeah, fortunately, hopefully the snow just continues to stall out and I'll be okay.
Well, growing up in Jacksonville, did that make you a Jaguar fan? And is there a such thing as a Jaguar fan?
Yeah, that hurts.
Wow. What do you have against Jaguars?
They're just struggling right now.
It's not like they're in our division.
That's okay.
Yeah. Growing up, I did like the Jaguars. That's when they had Mark Brunell and, all those guys who kind of paved the way for the program to, and the franchise to get where it is right now. Fred Taylor, I was a huge Fred Taylor fan and whatnot. But hopefully they get everything going back here soon.
Well, I know there's a lot of Jaguar fans in the building rooting for DJ Williams.
Right.
Backer
Yeah.
last year went down there.
Yeah.
Well, you went to Parker High School in Jacksonville, and if I read that correctly, you were a 4-year starter on both sides of the football.
All right, let me correct it.
Okay, you got to correct Wikipedia because that's where I got the information.
Well, you know, most things on Wikipedia aren't true, but it's just the world we live in. But I was a 3-year starter at linebacker in my senior year. I was fortunate to play running back, in which I had a good season.
Running back.
The whole my team, we had a great season that year, and it was fun. And you know, you ask a lot of guys who even in the position we're in today, would they go back to high school just to play football and dress up on Friday night? Again, a lot of them will tell you, yeah, because that's just how precious those times were. So it was pretty fun.
How would you like Sam running at you around the corner, Davon?
I would eat him up.
Well, the running back thing makes sense too. You ran track, I believe, hurdles,
Right.
correct?
Yeah, I ran hurdles. So.
And I read your favorite athlete, Carmelita Jeter?
Carmelita Jeter, yeah, she
Yeah.
was actually the 200-meter champion this year, and she was on the 4x1 team. She's pretty hot. I like her. You know.
That's a plug if you're listening. How did you end up at South Florida then?
One thing going into my decision when I chose a college program was I wanted to go somewhere where it felt like home, and I didn't want to have any regrets once I chose the school that I would attend. And at the time, South Florida was at a great place, and Coach Jim Levitt, who's now with the 49ers, he was there at the time. All the guys that I was coming in with in my class, it was just a great group of guys, and I went there, and still to this day I had no regrets, and I had a great time and a great career at University of South Florida.
Did you have a lot of offers, a lot of opportunities out there?
I did.
Yeah.
I had a lot of schools, and what it was, one thing that stood out to me is I didn't want to go somewhere and just, be another guy. I wanted to go somewhere and be able to make a difference. And since the University of South Florida was, up and coming at the time, I wanted to take advantage of that.
So when did the NFL dream become a reality? I mean, I know everybody growing up, they want to play professionally, but when did you realize, hey, I have an opportunity to do this?
I think it was probably when I was a freshman in college, because I came into college and, I was getting playing time immediately, and I was like, wow, if I'm this young and I'm competing with guys right now, then maybe, in 4 years from now I could potentially do it again. And so, you're always going to have bumps in the road, but, I just, I prided myself and, just continued to persevere through whatever happened, and fortunately I'm here today.
Davon, did we talk about, I can't remember if we brought that up. When did you start thinking NFL?
For me, it had to been my junior year when Dwayne Walker, who actually coaches for Jacksonville now, their secondary, he came there to New Mexico State, and he coached in the league and coached at a big program with UCLA. He sat down, told me the business side of football and that I had potential to play next level. So I do say sometimes if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be here now.
Do you run into that a lot, like former coaches that you had along the way that are, sprinkled into the NFL? Because, fans at the end of the game, they see everyone walk into the center of the field, and then there's random people hugging people, and it's like, how do they know them? How do they know them? And it just seems like, through the pipeline, through the chain, you guys always are running into somebody you had something in the past with.
Yeah, I can definitely agree. It's the amount of guys that I've met, either playing against or, going to the NFL combine with, or even, when I was in high school going on college visits, it's like you get to know those guys and, you spend probably 2 or 3 days with them, but, you end up feeling like you've known them for 2 or 3 years. And, it's like football, everything is cyclical. If a coach goes here, a lot of NFL defenses, we share the same scheme. So one coach might go to another team, and next thing you know, you were real close with that coach, and so you see them at their game, and win, lose, or draw. It's like, well, I won't say lose, but you like to see them shake hands and just tell them good luck.
How about for you, Davon? Is it kind of the same way? I know going to New Mexico State, not as big of a school, but some success there, and guys sprinkled around the league as well.
Yeah. example, we had a buddy that goes to Detroit, and so after the game, we sat there and talked with him, asked how he was doing, and he explained how much he doesn't like Green Bay, and I explained to him, I don't blame you, why not? Because we always do beat Detroit. But yeah, we got guys on a couple of teams that after the games, even same the conference, like teams that Utah State or Boise State when they're on the opposite side, we always talk afterwards.
Yeah, you bring up the streak. We're going to get to that a little bit later on. 23 straight in the state of Wisconsin against the Detroit Lions. Been asking this when we've had rookies come on. David, the co-host, he's brought a couple on. And what was draft day like for you? Tell us about getting that phone call. We heard from Micah Hyde, who was throwing golf clubs in a lake, and Nate Palmer, who was so excited he thought he was talking and actually wasn't. Mm-hmm. So seeing if you got a good story like that.
Well, it was an exciting day, and I think overall it meant more to my family than it meant to me. Not because that I just didn't find it important. It's just, I took pride in, getting to where I was, just to make them happy and just so they can be proud of, to be my mom or dad or brother or sister. But I got up, ate a nice breakfast, waffles, egg whites, sausages. I put on a nice little suit or whatnot, and I just sat in front of the TV. I actually watched the whole draft. And just seeing some guys I played against, actually went to high school with, and played at the University of South Florida with, things like that, it kind of made me feel happy for those guys. And so, it got late in the draft and my name hadn't been called yet, but you know what, I was like, whatever situation, I was put into, I was just going to take advantage of it. Going into it, I was just, I just asked God for the opportunity. And so once Green Bay called, later in the 7th round, it just put a huge smile on my face. Everybody was happy. I could have been the last pick in the draft. It didn't matter, so everybody was just happy, and I'm just so grateful to be here. And not to get off topic, but you guys are great. You guys are great. So.
And one thing with that, too, in getting drafted by Green Bay, and when you're a later round guy or an undrafted free agent, this has got to be an ideal place because when you're a late round pick or an undrafted guy, they don't care. If you can go out there and play, you're going to make the team, you're going to make plays, you're going to be out there and playing. We see that with you. And we're going to talk a little bit more about the opportunity in front of you coming up when we return here. Sam Barrington, Davon House. We are in the huddle. More from Tanner Sports Grill in Kimberly on the Woodward Radio Network. And we are back here at Tanner Sports Grill in Kimberly. In the huddle, rolling on the Woodward Radio Network. Davon House and Sam Barrington, our Packers, with us here tonight. And before we get to our wild card segment, which is really random today, I'll just say that. It's kind of have a little bit of fun with what's coming up here, but we're talking about the opportunity. And, Sam, you've come in, you've played special teams, made the impact there, and how you made that roster as well on special teams, and now because of injury, where is your situation? Where are you at right now?
I'm just a guys. Football is all about taking advantage of the opportunity. When you're a defensive player and the guys run the ball, that's your opportunity to knock them out. You understand what I'm saying? So I'm in a position right now where if my name is called, I need to be ready, not only for myself, but for this team. And the ultimate goal is win the Super Bowl, so I have to do whatever I have to take to make sure I'm contributing to that every week. So if my name is called, I'll be ready, and if it's not, I'll support the guy who's in place.
Davon, take us through seeing Sam come in as a rookie, meeting him for the first time, and just kind of that progression where he's grown, into that locker room and as a member of this team.
Well, I'll tell you now, he's doing a lot better than what I did my first 2 years. Like I said before, my first 2 years, I wasn't active until maybe game 6, and that was last year. So I believe this is his 3rd game, maybe active. So he's grown a lot, and a lot of guys in the locker room respect him. On the way up here, I told him that he's a quiet guy. He said he's not, but it's it's a respect thing, and a few times that I have worked out with the rookies, he's in there quiet, doing extra stuff and hitting the weights hard, always taking notes, and doing his job, and especially out there on the special teams, doesn't complain at all, and especially during meetings, special teams is huge, and our special teams coach never yells at him. Hardly ever messes up, which is good. So right now he's just doing his job.
The quiet thing, is that because you're a rookie, just kind of waiting to let that personality come out, or?
I think it's just, you never want to be a guy who talks too much. And me and Davon was talking about this earlier, because when it's time for you to speak and you really want somebody to listen to you, you say so much, they're just going to be like, whatever, we don't want to hear it. So, but at the same time, I'm just trying to spend a lot of time listening so I can learn as much as possible.
Well, for our wild card segment this week, I want to go into a week and just kind of, we've talked before that you guys don't go home and sit there and watch football. I think that's a misconception that people have about football players. But let's go through a work week and just kind of dissect it. Today was a Victory Monday. Okay, so what time is the alarm going off on a Victory Monday, and what did you actually have to do? Because on Victory Monday, you guys do get the day off, kind of, or yes?
Well, today's not a Victory Monday. Victory Mondays start, I think, maybe like week 10,
okay,
maybe. So today's just a regular Monday. Victory Monday, he hasn't experienced yet, but it's a good day. So I can wake up at 12 o'clock if I want to.
So what's a regular Monday like?
Well, I get up probably about 8 o'clock, and the rookies have to lift at 9. And then, there are 2 other lifting groups, and so you kind of just do whatever you got to do to kind of get your legs back up under you, rehab, eat, talk trash, laugh, and then we got meetings from about 11 to 4 p.m., and then you're pretty much done. But, you look at it, that's about 9 to 5, that's still a full day's work. Yep. And so when you're a guy, like me, who I still have a lot to learn, I try to take advantage of that day and still, get some work done.
5 hours of meetings, that's a long time in a meeting room.
Yep.
A lot to prepare for.
Yep.
Tuesday's an off day. Is it, I'll ask again, really an off day? Are you guys showing up at the stadium still and still doing stuff?
I'm playing Call of Duty.
Yeah.
That's what I'm doing on Tuesday.
Yeah. Call of Duty Tuesday. You got Victory Monday and Call of Duty Tuesday.
Exactly.
Okay. How about for you?
And Grand Theft Auto Wednesday. No, but it's not even off day for me. I still go in, I get a workout in. I'm fortunate enough to be able to get a massage, and you just kind of go up there. You still just have to find something to get better at that day, and you get a little bit more hours than maybe a Wednesday or a Thursday, but it's not ultimately an off day. So.
How about those practice days, Wednesday, Thursday? Those are the normal practice days. What time do they start, and what time are you finally getting home to decompress?
For me, Wednesday, Thursday, I'm up at 6:45, and I'm at the stadium by 7. And it's really just eating lunch and sitting there until 7:30 comes, which is special teams meeting. Then it's meetings and more meetings and walkthrough. And then practice finally starts. Then after that it's lunch, and then it's more meetings, and another walkthrough. Then I get to go home at 5. But his day's a little different than mine.
Mm-hmm. Go through it.
Yeah, just about the same schedule, except rookies, we lift, before the day starts. So I probably wake up about 5:30, and I get home at 5:30.
How much lifting do the veterans do during the week, Davon?
Well, really, we lift 3 times a week. So we'll lift Monday, then we lift Thursday, and then Friday is like an arm blast. So I call it TV arms. So just something to make you feel good a little bit.
And then Friday, that's kind of walkthrough day.
Mm-hmm.
Is that right? And then how about the travel day on Saturday? What time do you guys got to be there? Does it depend on where you got to go, and how does that work?
On Saturday, we get in at 8:30.
Yeah, 8:30.
We get in at 8:30. Then we're done at by 10:30, and then we gotta leave We fly out by 12:45, and then we usually get to where we're going at 3. Then we have that whole time off until around 8, where we got check-in with snack.
Now, home games, you guys stay
Yeah.
in a hotel too, right?
Yeah. Yep.
So is that the same kind of like
Yeah.
12:45, or is it still later in the day? Or?
Yeah, pretty much.
Coach is about routine, isn't he? I mean, everything seems like it's the same. That's what he kind of preaches.
Creatures of habit. Yep.
And then, of course, Sunday is game day. So take us through yesterday, waking up and getting to the stadium and how that works.
So you wake up. If it's a noon game, you probably wake up call is about 8 o'clock. Oh, I'm sorry, 7 o'clock. Breakfast starts at 8, and then you got to be to the stadium about an hour later. And then next thing you know, an hour and a half later, the games it's time to get ready to go out on the field. So it's pretty much a quick morning, and you just got to make sure you do whatever you got to do to kind of get yourself going, because you'll eat breakfast and the next thing you know, you'll be out there getting ready to kick the ball off. So you just got to make sure you're up and going.
See, that's the one thing I wanted to bring it up, because just kind of taking inside to what a week is like, because like I said, it's not just practice and then go home, practice and go home. It is long, dragged out days. I can tell how excited you guys are just thinking about Wednesday and meeting day and all that.
Yeah. I mean, that's the really with the job I'm doing right now. It's tough getting players to come here for the radio show because it's our time off.
Yeah.
It's like my brother from college is here, and I woke up this morning like, we're gonna go out and go bowling and we're gonna go golfing today, and it hit me like, I got the radio show to do today, so I don't have a day off today now.
All right, real quick here, I give 4 things once you got your free time. All right, how do you split it up percentage-wise between napping, doing work around the house, hanging out with teammates or doing other social things, and just sitting around doing nothing? How would you break those down?
Video game is about 95%. And I guarantee you that's for a lot of people on the team. I mean, but some of course other guys have families they got to go home to, so it's different. But with me, video games is about 98%. And then the only time I leave my couch is to go to sleep.
Davon, I want to get your answer, because I want to know how much housework you do, because I understand you got a house this off season, so how much you're doing there around the house when you are home. But we have Sam Barrington and our Packer co-host Davon House. We are in the huddle, our Ask the Players segment coming up next, brought to you by Brew Pub Pizza here on the Woodward Radio Network. And we are back here at Tanner's Sports Grill in Kimberly in the huddle on the Woodward Radio Network, brought to you by Mills Fleet Farm. Transportation for Davon and Sam, brought to you by L&S Classic Limousine, Lenny and Sue. Where's Lenny walked out? Let's get in the car ready for you guys. So, all right, Davon, we talked about the free time, and we heard 95% of the free time playing video game. 98%. How about for you, Davon?
I don't know if I can give it percentage-wise, but I mean, as soon as I get home, I talk to my wife for a good 30, 45 minutes, and then as soon as I can, I tell her I gotta go. But I go downstairs and play a good 30 minutes, and I come up, ask her what she's doing, and then tell her to come down, try to beg her to come downstairs with me. She's like, no, I don't want to. I'm like, well, I'm not playing the game. Then she'll go down and I'll be playing the game. But, so say if I get home at 5, I'll play to 7, 7:30. Then go upstairs and then we'll watch our TV shows and we'll go to sleep around 10:30.
So you on the Xbox or the PlayStation?
Xbox.
So you play random people. You ever have, play against anybody, set up these games or anything?
Well, I usually play with some of our teammates. So I play with Banjo, Jamari Lattimore. Clay plays a lot too.
So you guys, it's like a league going on. It's like a whole different life. That's awesome. All right, let's get to our Brew Pub Pizza Ask the Players question, your opportunity to chime into Facebook. You can go to inthehuddleshow.com. It takes you right to our Facebook page. And, of course, tweet your questions at In the Huddle Show. And it's brought to you by the Brew Pub Lots of Matza Pizza, the new Brew Pub pizza, specifically designed with the hungry person in mind. It's big, it's bold, it's outrageously delicious. Made with a half pound of Wisconsin mozzarella cheese. It's good stuff right there. Premium meats, veggies, and again, mozzarella cheese. Got to add that a couple times. When you crave a really serious pizza that brings the great Brew Pub experience, this is the one. Pick it up today at your favorite local grocer. All right, we got some Twitter and Facebook questions for you. First one's coming in from Tom in Clintonville, listening on WJMQ in Clintonville, and it's for Davon, and we talked about Morgan Burnett's haircut. Do you ever anticipate following suit?
No time soon. I think I will after football's over with. But while I'm here, nah, I can't. It's not going to happen.
How long did that take?
Freshman year of college. So it's been a long time coming.
Was that 7 years in the process? Wow.
Kind of dating me then. Getting old.
All right, next question coming from Greg on Facebook wants to know, with many different personalities and characters in an NFL locker room, are you guys a close-knit group out of football, or is it kind of like high school where everybody kind of goes their own ways, and is it cliquey?
I think it's pretty much a close-knit group. It's amazing how, a guy like A.J. Hawk, he's 8 years in, and this is my rookie year. And, he talks to me like I've been playing on team with him. And so it makes me feel good, and it makes me, happy I can come and just kind of get some insight. And then, when we leave work, all the guys in the rookie group, Banjo lives like next door to me and Nate Palmer hang out a lot. Dayton's always asking me to come to his house, so it's pretty cool.
You talk about the NFL being circular, and I'm sure you can talk about that too, Davon, is where, A.J. Hawk, an 8-year veteran, talking to the rookie. Mm-hmm. So when you're an 8-year veteran, you kind of share that same way. It goes in a circle. It kind of goes in that cycle, right?
Definitely. And, the grand scheme of things, it'll only help your, team grow. If he's offering insight to me and I'm helping the team out by playing special teams or potentially being the backup at linebacker. If he's talking to me and I'm getting knowledge from him, it'll only help the team out.
We'll get to our next question here. This one's from Tom in Appleton, and you kind of told me what you had planned for the bye, Davon, so I'm going to start with you on this one. What was your favorite thing you did during the bye week?
Except for hanging out with my wife, was going to the Chicago Cubs game. That was a blast.
How was Wrigley? How was the Wrigley Field experience? I know Davon's a big baseball guy. I've never been to Wrigley, and I was explaining to him, when you're there looking, it's great, but when you're kind of in the underbelly of the stadium, I need to go get a tetanus shot.
But no, I loved it, especially since they gave us some jerseys with my number and my last name on it, and they let us hit BP inside the cages. So yeah, it was a blast.
Did you do the first pitch thing?
No, I wish.
How about for you, Sam?
I spend a lot of time with my family, and my dad was in town, so just hanging out with them, and I saw my kindergarten teacher. Her name was Miss Brady, and I'm saying it's crazy because I went back to my elementary school. She didn't know I was coming, and I was just like, I had to go see if she was there, and she's still there in the same classroom.
So you walk in, what's the reaction from her?
I walked in, and so I told her who I was, and at first she had to think, and I was like, I was the one that had the pink book bag, because all the other kids used to pick on me for having a pink book bag, and I was a boy, but I didn't care because my mom gave it to me. So, and she just covered her mouth, and she couldn't believe me, and she asked me what I was doing, and once we got to talking, she was just, all she could do was shake her head, because it's just such a testament. That was a long time ago.
I would like to see somebody pick on you right now with a pink book bag. They might think twice about doing that, right?
Yeah, and so she's still in the same classroom, my elementary school. it brought chills to my,
Sam Barrington, Davon House.
Yeah.
We got more of In the Huddle coming up. When we return, we'll wrap things up here on the Woodward Radio Network. And we are back here at Tanner Sports Grill in Kimberly. One final time on our In the Huddle for tonight. Post-Lions game, 22-9 victory. Davon House and Sam Barrington, our Packers, with us. And we brought it up before, the streak, 23 straight games over the Detroit Lions in the state of Wisconsin. It was December of 1991. Where were each of you guys?
I was 2, and I was probably in the crib still.
I was more than likely in Orlando, Florida, and I had just turned 2.
Mm-hmm. I think there's a couple players, David Bakhtiari and was Nate not born?
No, Nate is. I know Nate's birthday was last week because mine was Saturday, and I think Nate. I know he was born. He was born.
I think that there was 2 guys on your team that weren't even born the time that ended up happening. Now I know Coach McCarthy asked about it in the media, and he just didn't like it. We can just say that nicely. He said that you guys weren't talking about it, weren't focusing on it. Obviously, the media bombarded you guys with questions. We're sorry. We like to do that. After the fact, is it nice to keep that going, obviously, with the win, but, is it something to put your stamp on that streak and, Detroit's failures in the state?
We just like to win and beat people.
That's the Coach McCarthy answer. So, 3 teams have never won in Lambeau, by the way: Denver, Baltimore, and Arizona. None of them appear on the schedule this year, so we won't do any jinxing or knocking on wood there. Any team or individual records, streaks that you guys are aware of that you do follow that mean something to you guys?
Nothing that really means anything to me. But when Charles breaks Rod Woodson's record, I can say I played with him and I seen one of his touchdowns. So,
speaking to Charles Woodson last night, tied the NFL record for most defensive touchdowns in a career. I believe 10 of those came as a member of the Packers. And I know Charles at the game was asked about it and says makes him one of the greatest of all time, and I'll agree with that.
Yeah,
He's spot on seeing him and being able to play there. All right. The Denver-Dallas game yesterday, did you catch any of it? Did you see the numbers that were put up?
I saw the numbers. A lot of it.
Was it combined 900 yards through the air, 9 touchdown passes between Peyton Manning and Tony Romo. Now here's the funny thing. Peyton Manning, he's on pace for 6,000 yards and 64 touchdowns, which isn't going to happen, but we can't ask you, when you see those numbers, when you see that, what do you think? Because you guys get to watch one of the best at his craft in Aaron Rodgers and a guy that's definitely capable of playing like that.
Right. It's football, and like somebody, you always hear, in the locker room, people say, it's hard to win in the NFL. And, crazy things happen week in and week out. Like, how do you lose a finger in football? I've been playing and I've heard guys lose teeth but never a finger. So, crazy things happen, and that's just another crazy thing, that's happening. I'm sure something next week will happen and the week after that.
How do you not know your finger's hanging out in your glove detached from your finger?
Yeah. Who that happened to?
There was a guy from was it the Cardinals? Back in week 1 or week 2, there was part of his finger that he took his glove off after the game and his finger was missing.
Yeah, like, are you hiding rocks in your gloves? It's your finger, dude.
New Mexico State, 0-6 on the year, Davon. A 66-17 loss to New Mexico last weekend.
Yeah, it's not looking good right now.
Rice coming up next weekend at home. South Florida, 26-20 victory over Cincinnati.
Yeah, but I'm not going to let, Davon be alone. USF isn't doing too good this year. Right?
I think combined it's 1-10 between your 2 schools.
Dang.
Well, at least we got the win.
So you went from not letting Davon hang out on his own over there to taking credit to the
that
one.
Was situational. But But I'm sure I'm speaking for Davon when I say this. We just wish those programs a lot of luck with the continuing season because they offered us so many things and they helped us get to where we are today.
Proud alumni. 2 minutes left here. The Baltimore Ravens, your next opponent. Sam, we'll start with you. Your thoughts on Baltimore early on, and what are you expecting for Sunday?
Well, obviously they're the world champions, and this Super Bowl says otherwise. But it's just the goal is to go 1-0 this week, and that's in special teams, defense, and offense. Right now I'm a special teams player, so I just want to do whatever I can do to help this team win, and I'm looking forward to it.
How about for you, Davon? Joe Flacco, he's going to be the one tossing the balls. I think he had, 5 interceptions a couple weeks ago, so that's got to be fun for a D-back.
Well, that game, but I don't expect him to throw 5 this game. Joe's one of the elite quarterbacks in this league. That's why he got paid all that money last year. He's Super Bowl champ. I believe he won MVP that year, too. So, they're the champs until someone else wins the Super Bowl this year. And it's not going to be a pushover. I believe both teams are 2-2, or they might be 3-2.
They're 3-2, yeah.
They're 3-2. So, like Sam said, let's go 1-0 this weekend and get better.
And you talk about great franchises in the National Football League. These are 2 of them. Baltimore does have the longest streak, 5 playoff appearances in a row. You guys right behind at 4, so should be a good one on Sunday. Go get a win. Sam, thanks for coming out. Really appreciate you spending some time with us. Davon, as always, a lot of fun, and we'll talk to you again in a couple of weeks, all right?
That sounds good.
All right. With Davon House and Sam Barrington here from Tanner Sports Grill in Kimberly, I'm Justin Oath. Thanks for tuning in here to In the Huddle on the Woodward Radio Network.